Hey, what's up, folks? A few days ago, I did a video about this series, Stormlight Archives by Brandon Sanderson. Past couple of days, I felt like I didn't do that series justice. I wanted to come back and redo the video. Because even though myself, I haven't always been a big fan of long, drawn out series. A couple of books, okay, that's fine. But when it starts getting long and drawn out, in the past, some of the stuff I've read has been repetitive. As the story went along, it was the same thing. Same situations, repeated, same solutions, repeated. It got watered down. It got to the point where by the time you got to the later books, it had nothing to do whatsoever with the beginning. And I told my buddy when he suggested I start reading Sanderson that I was not a fan of series books like that. But I tried it. And I tell you something, these right here, you don't have any of those problems. It does not water down. It is not repetitive. If you like sci-fi, fantasy, give it a little mystery, some surprise, some twist. If you like tension, suspense, if you like world building at its finest, character building at its finest, get you some of this. Now these books are thick. These books are good and thick. And there's a lot of moving parts to it. But it never gets muddled down. It never gets confusing. You always know where you're at, what's happening. There's slow spots, of course. You know, that just happens. Books have slow spots. And in the beginning of the books, The Way of Kings, you may be a little confused. I kind of got sideways. I was a little confused to begin with. But if you know Sanderson, when you get past the halfway point, when you get down to the last third or so of the book, everything that has happened comes to a head and is explained perfectly as to why that happened the way it did. There might be a character in the very first book who twists the doorknob the wrong way with his non-dominant hand. And then you think, well, but by the time you get to the end of the book, you understand why that happened. And it makes perfectly logical sense. Now, the books here, Way of Kings, Words of Radiance, then you have Edge Dancer. Edge Dancer is a novella, short story that introduces a whole new character. Not been present up to that time. Then you get into Oathbringer. You understand that novella. Then you have Dawn Shard, that little one between Oathbringer and Rhythm of War. Doesn't introduce a new character, but it goes back and revisits a character that was only in a tiny subplot in the book that didn't really seem to fit in anywhere. That little novella explains it. Then Rhythm of War. The character development is amazing because you don't only see the characters in their prime, doing what they do best, being whatever it is they might be. You see the characters in those quiet little dark moments where they're having integrity issues, worries, troubles. There's one scene where a character, a major character, has such a negative reaction to something that happens, he begins to drink all the wine in the castle to the point where the king and the staff hide the wine from him, and he goes and finds the wino that hangs out behind the castle and shares wine with him. That is character development. Tells you how he gets there, why he's there, how bad it really affects him mentally, emotionally, and everything, and affects his family as well. That is excellent character development. You just have to read it. It's amazing. I highly recommend this series of books. Number 5 comes out next December, I believe. I'm looking forward to it. Now, as you read a book, you get your favorite characters. Then you get characters that are not so much your favorite. There are a couple of characters that personally irk my nerves. Just, I wish you'd stop doing that. But that's who they are. And as it goes on, you understand why they are the way they are and how it absolutely affects the telling of the story that they be that way. Then there are other characters that just, I really enjoyed them, really felt for them. And all the characters in the first book, not all, most. Some do not make it to in the rhythm of war. Most do. And I try to keep this as spoiler free as possible, but I want you to understand that this is not your average series of books where you have a character going on various quests and whatnot. There's one series I read that featured a character. Alright, he needed to go confront his brother because his brother stole his heritage, and between him setting out and actually making it to his brother, he had to do a lot of the same things in every book. This is not like that. This is a story starting in the Way of Kings, continuing through Rhythm of War, escalating, de-escalating, changing, evolving. The people. It is truly a work showing you their thought processes, showing you why they do what they do, why they did what they did, and how they wound up where they're at, and how they feel about it. And there's a couple of characters I really got to like. Dalinar is one of them. Dalinar, I really like his character. Then there's always, if you've read Sanderson, if you're a Sanderson fan, you know who Wit is. I like Wit. Wit, yeah, I like him. He really brings something to it. And it's not just highborn characters doing their thing. It's regular people coming into the mix, adding to it. The Lopin. I like the Lopin too. He's fun. I can hang out with Lopin. Yeah, I can hang out with Lopin and Rock and a couple of others, I could hang out with them boys. That would be some fun. Mm-hmm. Now there's a scene. I don't consider it a spoiler. I'm not gonna give like details, but I am going to give what is two of probably the most memorable moments to me that I enjoyed in the book. So if you want to mute it up for a minute, I'll give you the thumbs up when I get through talking about whatever it is, but I'm not going to like go into great deep detail about it or anything. In one scene, you have um, a character, Spren. Spren are slivers of deity, as Seal calls them. Seal's awesome, but Spren are these little slivers of deity. Some are not as highly invested or involved or evolved or however you're going to say it as others. Some are just like little quick flashes of light or little bugs flying in the wind or something like that. Others can take the shape of human and are very sentient and cognitive. And what happened with the Spren is certain Spren and certain humans form a bond with each other, and I don't know if I'd call it symbiotic, but they work with each other, they help each other, they are, it's hard to explain. But the more higher evolved Spren can bond with a human, and without giving too much away, they form, a very, very awesome duo. So there's one character, her Spren, and I found this scene to be particularly funny, and it's a good example of why I like Sanderson's writing. So the character and her Spren are having a very serious discussion with another character. Now the Spren aren't human, so they don't have certain things like taste and the human experience. So they don't know certain things. They just can't experience it. So as the two human characters are having a discussion, very serious discussion, the Spren is standing right there, and he is fascinated by lies, by the lies people tell. And as these two humans are talking, one says something to the other, and the Spren says, that tastes like sausage. And both the humans just stop talking, look at him like, you don't know what sausage tastes like. You don't have taste buds. You have never experienced what sausage. Why would you say that tastes like sausage? That lie tastes like sausage. Tastes like sausage. He said, well, I don't know if it does, but that's what I imagine sausage would taste like if it tasted like that lie. And I just found it so humorous. Very, very just nonchalant that in the middle of this heavily serious discussion, this bit of humor popped up in there. And it does that quite a bit in these books. It really does. The other situation is where one of the humans gets put on trial. And his Spren isn't fully cognitive. It's what's called a deadeye. It was bonded to a human once, and that human cut that bond or broke that bond, and it left the Spren with black holes for eyes, not able to talk, very little cognitive function. Just they call them dead eyes. Well, through these books, from where she was introduced to Rhythm of War, she has been fighting and pushing herself to become more or less alive again. Because I truly believe she wants to bond with her human, which she cannot do until she lives again. So he he has always taken the time to talk to her and to tell her how much he appreciates her help, in the limited role that she's in, that she's able to provide. And he cares for her, even though she's a deadeye. And so through, I know, Oathbringer and Rhythm of War, she is fighting against herself, whatever happened to her, and to become alive again. And so when her human is on trial, they bring her in as a witness. And even though she's not really able to speak, they bring her in hoping to break her human. And, they start hounding her and pressuring her and, and just accusing her and her human is fighting against all these people. Leave her alone, leave her alone. Blah, blah, blah. And he's trying his best to get to her and protect her. And she begins to scream. She begins to fight. And at one point, he says he can feel a connection to her, which made me really happy, because that means something. But then she starts screaming, talking. She starts screaming, talking, defending her human by telling the audience, the judge and all, what really happened, which is a giant step. This Deadeye is one of my favorites, my favorite characters. If, when I was reading, I thought, if I could get me a stick or something, I'd get in there, I'd clear him a path all the way through there. I'd get me some knees and some, heads and clear him a path, and he could take care of her. And because, it's weird how you just like some characters like that. But that's how good these books are. And I really recommend these. You have the larger overall, but then you have the small details, like I mentioned earlier, that if you pay attention, makes it all the more interesting. But I do recommend these books. I wanted to give them this series the respect that they deserve. I feel like in the other video I made kind of light of it, maybe a little too much. But this one, yeah, these are good books. I recommend them. But you better like reading, because I think every one of them is over 1,000 pages long. You better like reading. But they're good. I recommend it. Sanderson is the man. So check them out. And I hope you enjoy it. If you've read them, if you've already read them, you read Sanderson, you have opinions, comments, or whatever about your favorite character or moments in these books, yeah, let me know. Put them up in the comments. Be interested to hear. You know, which Night Radiant are you? Me? I tested Truth Watcher. I will seek the truth, baby. So, if you have a favorite, whatever, let me know. Compare notes, see what you think. What was your favorite moment? Who's your favorite character? What was your most disappointing moment? Well, I guess there is another. I forgot to give people thumbs up, but yeah, you can rewind it a little bit. I forgot about that. My bad. But there was another moment in it that it kind of made me chuckle. Adeline's whole family is in one way or another bonded or magical or how would you describe it? And Adeline, he has his dead eye, but you know, like I said, he can't really do much. So, can you imagine Adeline? How it must feel to be standing on the wall in that last battle, looking out. Over here is your wife and her two others producing an army to fight off another army and holding her own. Over here, you got this 12-year-old kid and this guy that tried to murder your father, who is now pledged to your father to protect him, chasing this thing that keeps being grabbed and, you know, flown away from you, taken away from you. Then you got your brother back here who is attacking a giant rock monster, even though up till not too far in the past, your brother couldn't even hold a sword and he did not even want to be a warrior. And now he's attacking this giant rock monster. Okay, well, your cousin is over here creating walls out of thin air. All right, your dad is down there facing off against a god. And Adeline's just kind of standing there like, well, I wish I could do something. You know, I mean, okay. So, I like Adeline. Adeline's a good man. I can just imagine how he feels at that moment. Just like, what y'all want me to do? Anything I can do to help? Just, let me know. I'll be right here. So, check these books out. I think you'll enjoy it. I think you do. Hey, if you appreciate the video, sub it, like it up, baby. Share it around. You know how all this works. Come on.